Good morning. Now, this is a continuation of our class 9. That is, in class 9, we have discussed about the realization of direct form 1 structures or direct form 1 realization. Now, we are just continuing that class, and this is class 10, and here we will discuss about direct form 2 realization. Okay. Now, direct form 2 structure for IR system. We have already seen that the overall system function can be connected as a cascade of H1Z and H2Z. Now we are writing the expression for H2Z. That is, this is actually the general expression for the system function or transfer function for IAR systems, as already discussed in many sessions. So this one is the general expression for the system function or transfer function of IR system. Now this Hz can be written as y of z by x of z. Now you are just multiplying and dividing this y of z by x of z with w of z, and then we will get this as this one. So w z by x of z is h1z, whereas y of z by w of z is h2 of z. Okay, so hz has now become the product of h1z and h2z. Now h1z, as we already know, that is h1z is given by this equation w of z by x of z. So this is nothing but 1 by 1 plus summation over k equal to 1 to n a k z raised to minus k. Okay, and h2z is actually y of z by w of z, and that is nothing but summation over k equal to 0 over m b of k bk z raised to minus k. Now what you can notice is that just compare with direct form 1 and direct form 2 structures, that is compare what you have studied in class 9 with that of class 10. That is, here we are discussing about direct form 2 realization, right? So this h1 is z, this is the expression for h1 is z that we have now got in direct form 2 structures. Now the h1 of z in direct form 2 is actually h2 of z in direct form 1, or we can say that h1 of z in direct form 1 is the same as h2 of z in direct form 2, whereas h2 of z in direct form 1 is the same as h1 of z in direct form 2, right? So when you compare, just compare h1 of z and h2 of z in direct form 1 and direct form 2, then we will understand this difference. That is, h1 of z in direct form 1 is the same as h2 of z in direct form 2, whereas h2 of z in direct form 1 is the same as h1 of z in direct form 2. Okay, so when you see the expressions, you will understand that difference. Now we are just cross multiplying the terms of equation 11, then we get this equation. We are just cross multiplying this, then you will get this as this one. So from that, y of w of z will be x of z minus this expression, then x of z is kept as such. Now this one is expressed as this one, so this is actually the time domain representation of this particular term. And now we are going to take the inverse z transform of this equation. Okay, so taking the inverse z transform of the above equation, that is the inverse is a transform of y of z will be w of z will be w of n, then inverse is a transform of x of z will be x of n, then minus is kept as such, this one a1 is kept as such, then taking the inverse is a transform of this one, w of z will be w of n actually, but since you have got a delay element z raised to minus 1, this will become w of n minus 1, like this. Okay, now here, as already said in class 9, you are applying the inverse is a transform to each of these terms and you will get this equation. Okay, now you are representing the realization of H1Z in the case of direct form 2 structures. Now this is actually this is the representation of realization of H1Z. Now this is said to be an all pole system. Okay, see, in direct form 1 structure, H1Z actually represents all zero system, whereas in direct form 2 structure, H1Z is representing all pole system. Okay, so there is a difference there also. Now you are considering H2Z. So H1Z is over. Now H2Z, you know, the expression is given by like this. You are taking the time domain representation. Then the steps and all are same. Taking the inverse Z transform. So y of z will be y of n. B0 is kept as such. The inverse Z transform of wz will be w of n, plus b of 1 is kept as such. Then z raised to minus 1 w of z, on taking inverse Z transform, it will become w of n minus 1, like this. So you are applying the inverse Z transform to each of these terms as mentioned above, and you will get this expression, and you are representing the realization of H2Z as follows, as shown in this figure. And here this H2Z is actually representing all zero system. Remember, H2Z in direct form 1 system was actually representing all pole system, but here H2Z in case of direct form 2 is representing all zero systems. So they are just interchanged. So you can say that H1 of Z in direct form 1 is actually H2 of Z in direct form 2, whereas H2 of Z in direct form 1 is H1 of Z in direct form 2. That is one difference. Then H1 of Z actually represent all zero system in case of direct form 1, but whereas H1 of Z in direct form 2 is representing all pole system. Similarly, H2 of Z in direct form 1 was actually representing all pole system, whereas H2 of Z in direct form 2 represents all zero system. So these are the common differences that you can notice when you compare direct form 1 and direct form 2 realizations. Now here we have drawn realization of H1Z separately, then the realization of H2Z separately in case of direct form 2. So if you want to get the final or the overall direct form 2 realization, as said before, what you have to do, you have to join or connect or cascade this direct form 1, this realization of H1Z, that particular figure has to be joined with this particular figure, that is realization of H2Z, that is they have to be cascaded like this. Okay, and finally you will get this figure as follows, that is, this was actually the realization of H1Z, the figure. This figure was actually the realization of H2Z. So in order to get the overall direct form 2 realization, you are just drawing these two figures together, and that will be the overall direct form 2 realization, that figure. Okay, now see, this will represent actually all pole system. This will be all zero system. In direct form 1 it was just the reverse. Okay, this will be the all zero system and this will be the all pole system, as I already said the differences. Okay, now see, you can see here that these are the delay elements in H1Z. These are the delay elements in H2Z. So these delay elements are drawn separately. Now you can combine these two delay elements, that is delay elements in H1 of Z and the delay elements in H2 of Z, into a single delay element. Then you will get the final figure, that is that particular figure can be simplified as this. See, there is only one delay element. These two delay elements, that is the delay elements of H1Z and the delay elements of H2Z, is combined to get a single delay element, and you will get the final figure for direct form 2 realization. So this is a final figure for direct form 2 realization. So this paragraph is what I have said now. So it's enough that you just write the only this particular sentence, that is, first of all you draw the realizations for the explanation and the realization for H1Z and the realization for H2Z separately, and then you write the sentence that in order to get the figure for the complete or to get the final direct form 2 realization, you are just cascading the figures for direct form 1 realization and direct form 2 realization as this. That is a block diagram, and the other diagram also you have to draw, and after that you have to write a sentence like this, that is, the delay elements of H1Z and the delay elements of H2Z is now combined to form a single delay element, and then we will get the resulting figure for direct form 2 realization as this. then draw this figure. So that's enough. So this direct form 1 realization and direct form 2 realization, these are very easy to study. So most probably it will be asked like an essay question. Discuss about direct form 1 and direct form 2 realization. So definitely you have to write from class 9 and class 10. If it is asked for short answer question, then you can refer class 8. Okay, so most probably this will be asked like an essay question, discuss on direct form 1 realization and direct form 2 realization. So you can write from class 9 and class 10. Okay, for a direct form 1 realization you can refer class 9, and for direct form 2 realization you can refer class 10. So this is very easy to learn once you get, or once you understand the difference between direct form 1 and direct form 2 realizations. Okay, now so this is called direct form 2 realization, and here this particular direct form 2 realization requires a maximum of set of mn memory locations. So one of the most important advantages of direct form 2 over direct form 1 is that direct form 2 realization reduces memory locations. So it is called by the name canonic form. But the number of multiplications, that is m plus n plus 1 is needed, and the number of additions needed is m plus 1. And this number of additions and multiplications needed in direct form 2 is exactly the same as that needed for direct form 1. Okay, so that is enough for today. So study this direct form 1 and direct form 2 realizations very well. Okay, thank you.